Testing audio. I see that you can hear me well. Perfect. Very well. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, honorable judges, LVE tribe, as well as everyone else accompanying us. On this rather precious, extremely heated day of Shabbat from California, the US of A, today being Shabbat Tammuz the 10th, the 4th month of the year 5995, which corresponds with the 25th of July of 2026, in which we shall study yet another chapter of Wisdom and Discipline, part 76. We paused for 1 week, in which I did not want to continue with the study that we'll present today in Order 76 because YouTube blocked our account. They gave us a strike. And I'm telling you all this for those who don't know, because we have other channels. They're not in YouTube. They're in Odyssey and Rumble. But maybe you weren't present last Shabbat and you said, what happened? There was no study. Many don't get too deep into this ministry, and they kind of just look at it from the outside, kind of browse over it. It's too hot. Gonna adjust my shirt here a bit. Many just watch us via YouTube and don't even find out if YouTube fails, then we have another means. That's why I've decided to not give the study on the other means, and we had a different study last Shabbat, which we called in the expectation of the Finalissima, which was the day right after. But we'll continue on with this series because YouTube punished us for a week. And that is, if they don't punish us once again, then give us another strike. That would be for 2 weeks. And if they would give us another strike, which already happened, they would delete our channel forever. I still don't know why they brought down. I understand that sometimes my language turns out to be a bit offensive for certain groups. I've watched videos which have been 100 times more offensive than what I've spoken, but apparently I've touched on certain points upon which you cannot touch on, which are points that hurt a lot, because I talked about certain countries, even Switzerland. Maybe I said something, it's not just insults or things like that. Maybe I touched on things that are essential, which they say, we're going to block this. There's other people that say whatever barbarity out there, all kinds of things, and they don't block them at the very least. So then I have to be careful if we have to preserve our YouTube channel, which is what we want. I have to be careful in the language that I use and to speak a little more, per se, in parables about things that are bothersome for them. Sometimes I don't know, but oh well. Now we have the chance of speaking on YouTube, so then we're going to do so. I'd like to wish you a very happy Shabbat, and to all of you that are gathered here together. I'll talk about the game already. I'll talk about the game. Just wait a little bit. I'll let you know that all of you that didn't know, that's why we weren't last Shabbat on YouTube. We were at different means because they blocked us. I have the translation made by Cadmiel of the subject, which was Wisdom and Discipline, part 75, which is the subject in question, and he removed, because I asked him to remove everything where I say about the countries completely, what I say about all these countries. But that, no, I still didn't dare to upload it. He told me that he removed everything and checked it again, and he assured me that there's nothing of what they call hate speech. How do they say that in Spanish? Or like inciting to violence or hate. But I didn't dare to upload it because, I don't know, maybe because of the title, YouTube might say we're going to block you. Maybe I won't even upload it, I don't know. But either way, it's there pending. The translation is with all the necessary cuts. Either way, the subject which you missed that they eliminated numbers in 5, it's in Rumble and in Odyssey. If you don't know those accounts, in the description of this video and of every video on YouTube, you have Odyssey's account. And Odyssey is not easy to access because Google blocks the access to Odyssey. In other words, not blocked but hidden. You look for Odyssey and you don't see the platform. You have to know exactly where to go into that platform. Because as it turns out, YouTube, which is belongs to Google, they don't want to make any propaganda for other platforms. But in the description of this video and in every other video that where I speak, there's a description of the other channels. If you want to find out what I said in the subject that they blocked this, which is number 75, it won't be on YouTube and it's no longer there. You can watch it on Odyssey and Rumble. We have those two places to watch the videos very well. I'll begin by greeting those who have had a birthday during this week, which as follows: Maritza Ovalle Sanchez, Spain; Diana Marcela Sanchez, Colombia; Alexander Fabian Hernandez, Mexico; Brian Steven Hernandez, Colombia; Cristina Imamura, Japan. To each and every one of you, a great big hug on behalf of all of us, the Eternal Truth. Many congratulations, many blessings, and may you have a very great birthday. Very well. Before, I'd like to present these gifts that we have received from Diana. If you don't know, Diana Primo, who is in Cordoba, Argentina, sent us all these gifts, which are precious. I mean, Diana, you really overdid yourself. Thank you. I'll show you them quickly. They're very original and very beautiful. This is from Taj Mahal. We're gonna put it away. It's another. This is the Great Wall, the Great Wall of China. The Great Wall that was in the Arch of Spain, and we couldn't score. We had a dog, a German Shepherd. We've got what is this? What is this? Oh, a cat. We've got a cat. They said I was going to say a lion. It's a cat. It's a cat. It's all for the kitchen. And we have this one. This is another dog. What type of dog is this, Angelina? It's a Dutch Hound. Dutch Hound. We call them sausages in Spanish. It's a hunter. Yeah, it's a hunter. Yeah, the sausage has a longer snout. Yeah, a sausage, which is what we'll eat today, right? Sausage, not this one, but right. There's going to be some sort of sausage. For the mate, this is for the mate to add. This is for the thermos. I don't have a fine one yet. It's kind of like something, just a covering. And it's got a spectacular Argentinian flag. And the thermos, they're a little thicker here to go around the thermos. This is for the yerba mate herb. It's not to use it every day, but when you go to a park or you go out anywhere, this is for the sugar. If you add sugar, sometimes it's a nice one when it's sweet. I like both, and they give us a whole bunch of mates that are spectacular. I'll show you the first one. It's from Belgrano, the Pirates, spectacular. I've never imagined to have a mate from the Pirates. I love that. I was fascinated, aside from the fact that it's very nice color, spectacular, light blue. The champion of the Argentinian champion that beat River Plate, beat the Masons, spectacular. I loved it. This yerba mate from Belgrano, another mate that I never thought I'd have, Lanús, from Lanús Precious, with the granite color, spectacular of Lanús, spectacular. I loved it. Wow. Loved it, Diana. We really loved it. All of us that you gave us this one from Lanús. It's from the selections with the 3 stars. Yeah, we should have an extra one, but that's fine. It's from the sun, the Argentinian sun, blue and white, spectacular. If you see, I interpret, maybe it's not that way. It looks like it is the soccer cleat. These would be the bottom of the cleats and the lines that would seem to be like Puma, like El Diego would wear. It's very good, spectacular, and this one that we have already used, and of course, it's from the glorious athletic club Boca Juniors. In the game with Boca against O'Higgins, I said we have to find out how we do. That's how Argentinians are. It's a war. It's a word that may seem Jewish, but we're very cabuleros in Spanish, which is like Kabbalists, which comes from Kabbalah, and it just means that you're always looking for certain things that you have to do the same thing to obtain a result, to twist the luck. That is how the Argentinians are. If you notice, they always enter with their left or the right foot, or sometimes do a little jump. That they do a whole bunch of rituals that supposedly bring you good luck. It's completely crazy, completely crazy. And when they don't work, then you change it. You look for another one. That's why I've got so many mates from Boca. When we start and Boca starts to lose, we change the mate. It lost its luck, and we started with the Higgins with this one, and we won 1-0. We'll talk about the game. I hope you watched it. So then this one's already used. It brought us good luck, spectacular, and also gave us the spectacular. It says from AFA, the Football Association, Argentinian Association of Soccer, and you can add anything like fruit juice, anything for one for each. It's got the respective bombillas, which is how you draw the liquid out, and also a mate that's spectacular that's called Argentina LVE, and it had this marking. There's Argentina LVE. It's wooden, it's precious. Another mate. You might say, but how many mates do you use? We have a whole bunch of them. Doesn't mean that we use them all, but we either rotate them or we use them as a collection, and we love the mates. And she also gave us, I'll add it over here, 2 flags that are, I have the one that you've seen, I have that one. This is twice as big. I'm not going to open it because I can't close it, but it's precious. Look at it. Look at the size of the sun. Spectacular. Of course, the flags, you have to treat them with lots of respect. And she gives this flag and another flag from a different type of fabric. I think it's with the sun that's embroidered into it. It's a ceremonial flag that has the sun embroidered. I have to show this sun here that's spectacular. Wow, it's dual. It's got the dual fabric. It's a very special flag. How beautiful is this flag? Tell the truth, it is rather precious. This flag, spectacular. Wow. She was lucky to find it, and we were lucky for her to send it to us. What a beautiful flag. Many thanks, Diana. Tell the truth, you really overdid yourself. You overdid yourself. We loved it. We really loved it. Many things. Knowing what it costs to send from, or the shipping from Argentina is so expensive, we really appreciate your shows of care and love towards us. Madeline gave us this and gave us 6 or 7 jerseys, a little more than what we need. And she added this here that says, Las Malvinas son Argentinas. When we were champion against England. What do you mean we were champion? Yeah, we were champion there. With that was enough for us to be champion. It was the 7th game. There's 8 games, but with 7 in any World Cup, you're a champion. And we were champion here, period. What came after this is a different story. But we're champions here, and even more with that flag. So then many things, Madeline, many things, precious, precious. I just showed one. There's a whole bunch of them more, precious, many things for the shows of care that you give us. Let's talk a little bit about what happened in the game against Argentina. What I will tell you, Messi's here. Where's Messi? And it's got El Diego here. He can't be missing. We have God and the Messiah here present. That is making upset all the Christians. What I'm about to say is my point of view, of which I am absolutely honest in what I'm about to express. Can I be wrong? I can be wrong. But the thing is, I'm not afraid of being wrong. Always with me, what has worked ever since you have known me, as well as those of you that have been with the Eternal Truth ever since it began, which was approximately in the year 2008, officially with the name of the Eternal Truth in 2009. I was never afraid, but because of the spirit that I have, I was never afraid of making a mistake. If I were conservative, on the conservative side, like generally are all the churches and all the religions, they have a limit that they will not go over. It's a threshold, because they don't want to look bad and ridiculous, for them to say what you thought that did not come true. Well, that's not my way of seeing things. I speak to you and to all who would listen in my point of view, of what I understand in the moment. That takes the risk of me being wrong? Absolutely. You already know this. It has the absolute risk of being wrong. But if you don't make any mistakes, then never ever will you win anything. The risk of making a mistake is nothing compared with understanding a truth that if it's not through trial and error, you'll never get to the real point. If you just enclose yourself in the certainty of a doctrine that you won't even want to advance, so as to not have to reform everything, or to be look ridiculous to say I was wrong, or to say it wasn't so, then you stay in your area of comfort, and you put everything in the future, and someday it'll be fulfilled, but you never risk to say anything. Well, my way of speaking, you already know this, that I try to interpret not just what is written in this book, but also what is being written every day in the story of this world. This book is here to be interpreted what is written, which will be the events that will be lived in the world. So we cannot just interpret the Bible, because if we were to only read the Bible, we would not understand what the Bible is about, because the Bible talks about events that will happen at some point in time. So then if we do not compare, like the Messiah said, like a reflection, that Messiah, that was not the reflection, it was Yahweh. He said, you have to always be on watch, observing, paying attention to the signs. If we're not alert, looking at the times, you will not know in what time you live in. And since you did not know how to discern, the inhabitants of Jerusalem did not know how to discern what was happening right there. They didn't understand. That's why he cried over Jerusalem and said, you who know not the times or your visitation, because you know not. The animals know the times. They see if it'll rain or not, but you can't see a cow that's tied in front of you. You do not know how to interpret anything. Now, it is taken out of your eyes. You're being blinded. Why? Because you would never risk to interpret anything. Fine. What I'm trying to tell you is that I am not afraid of making a mistake in my interpretations, because I've noticed that when I interpret, and I interpret something that is not fulfilled, thanks to the fact that I interpreted something that was not fulfilled, my panorama is open to be able to interpret it differently. If you never interpret anything, you'll never understand how you were wrong, or if you could have been wrong. So then, I would rather make a mistake 1,000 times in my interpretations, but to give them, to empty myself of what I feel. When I do that, then when the time passes, I start to understand other things that if I had not said what I said, with even all the risk of making a mistake, I could not draw these new conclusions very well. That is the way that I interpret things. That is how I interpret the Bible, and that's how I interpret life itself. And life in the Bible is one thing in itself. Because here everything is related with everything. The Bible is connected even with soccer, because this is what life is. This is the creation. What we men do, and that we do it in a massive way, of course, it is connected with creation, evidently. As a football fan that I am, and because in my DNA as an Argentinian that I bear something that only a deep sensation, it's the only way of describing it, of a sport that I've played, that I ripped my ligaments playing when I was 18. I had 3 surgeries in my knees because of playing this sport, because I love soccer and I love watching soccer. So then when you already take this to a level of experience of playing it, feeling it, sucking it, and watching it, when you watch a soccer game, you'll understand if the players are giving everything that they have on the field or not. Maybe if you're not so well soaked in soccer, and maybe you don't notice the difference when a player runs more or less, or when a player really gives a good pass or not, or if they give a good step or not, when they want to stop a ball or not. Maybe you don't notice the difference. But when you know the sport, you've played it, and you understand it, you can understand clearly if a team is giving what they can give or not. And clearly so in the final game between Spain, I say Spain because between Spain and Argentina, Argentina gave the game to Spain. I'm not saying Spain plays bad. They play good soccer. In my point of view, they're not brilliant at all. At all. No matter the praises that you're going to hear, because Spain has such a way of passing Argentina. And this is not because I'm Argentinian. Argentina has everything to crush them and roll them. Spain could not beat Cabo Verde. Spain suffered with Uruguay. Spain suffered with other teams. You might say, no, but Spain, they disappeared France. That's kind of weird to tell you. I'll tell you that's odd. It's odd because there's no super Spanish player. If you'd say Lamine Yamal is a very, very good player, but to top it off, in this cup he has never shined. I've seen Lamine Yamal play a lot better. Unstoppable. In this World Cup, he only scored once. That was kind of just by luck, just a bounce, but nothing spectacular outside of that. Nothing. He couldn't pass anyone. Yamal was not what won the game. It's clear, and even less the one that they gave the Ballon d'Or, Pedri, like Peter the Apostle, one of those. They gave him the Ballon d'Or when he did not score one goal or even assisted a goal. You may say that's weird. Would you say that? The best player, they gave him the reward of the best as the to a player that did not even score once in the whole cup and didn't really even pass as an assistance. Why was he the best player? When Messi was 1,000 times better player than him in the whole cup, because they could give Messi a reward, because you had to reward Spain. So then we start to see things odd. When the game begins, there's a ball on minute 6 or 7, a ball that you must have seen. If Argentina's here and Spain's here and Argentina was going up like this, Julian passes Messi a ball and is completely, you can look it up on YouTube and other official channels and you'll see it. Julian passes Messi a ball, and there's such a distance between Messi and the goalie, at least of 10-15 meters. And Messi starts off by accelerating, but halfway through, as you can see it in slow motion, I saw it live, and I was grabbing my head saying, what happened here? In a surreal world, Messi stops. He brakes. He hits the brakes. If you're this way, like El Diego forward, is because he's going with speed, but if Diego goes like this, it's because he's braking. If I have my inclination this way, I have everything forward, and I have to go with everything towards the ball. But Messi, and when Julian passes him, he starts off like this, and halfway through he starts to do this, and he starts to brake, just as if he was a defender that is taking care of the ball. So in order for his goalie to grab it that is outside of halfway through, then he can't grab it with his hands, but he stops so as to not crash with the goalie. Imagine that if sometimes he crashes with the goalie and it's a whole disaster and another one scores. But Messi starts off with all the speed. He brakes, he hits the brakes, and when he has to get it, because it's not a foul in soccer, it is a game about crashing. If you don't believe me, then watch the game against England. When he crashes everyone. He crashes Kane. There's one play where he crashes everything, crashes against Kane, and they pass him through his legs, and another player. When he faced the goalie, that if he could accelerate, he could go through his way through that way. Above him, he could do anything because he's Messi, the best player in the world of all history. Messi hits the brakes, and in order to make it even more obvious, when the goalie is gonna grab it, he just goes to the side. He jumps into the side, as a defender would, saying, "Here, grab it." He puts his little paw. If he starts to run, the goalie never gets to the ball. He doesn't get there. On top of he not getting there, if he puts his little paw there, if the goalie couldn't grab it with his hands, there was going to be a crash. Goalie's foot, and that is what you call a crash. A clash. You took the paw out, put the paw in, put your balls into the game. That is what you call this. And in that clash, the ball comes out anywhere, so then either he could win it or another companion, but a teammate, but never to stop the play so that the goalie to freely pick it up. You see how Julian is always trying to, without falling him, since the goalie didn't have the ball. The thing was to clash in that moment that I noticed that Argentina was not going to win. Because when he had a goal that he could score clearly, watch the video. Don't just take what I say. Watch the video. Watch it because it's in slow motion. How Messi starts off, he breaks, he faces the goalie and leaves, saying, "Hey, what happened here?" It was the easiest goal in his career because it's to grab the ball, to just touch it, and go to the goalie. The defender was 10 meters behind him. There's no one. But Messi knew that he should not make the goal. Why did that happen? Why did Spain take the cup, whether it's the true one or the fake one, because they said it was a Legos one, whether it's the true or the fake one, he showed it in a trash bag that's transparent, like a shame. I'll take the cup here, then earn it. It was given to me, I'll take it in a trash bag, because it's trash. What we did was trash, and they know it. Spain knows that what they earned was given to them perfectly well, they know. Don't think that we're stupid, because how ugly it would be, and it would be such a lie to say, well, Argentina played, actually, we gave everything we could, and yeah, in 120 minutes we couldn't score to the goal. It's the first time in history that Argentina can't hit on target we're characterized by being aggressive, by having balls unknown as. We're characterized that even if we're being marked, we play either way. We're characterized because no matter how much they're marking us, we're gonna get there and hit on target. But in this game, it would seem that those who played was old men that are retired that said, "Hey, you guys want to play?" And they were all on wheels. In 120 minutes, Argentina never hit on target. No, nor has ever seen that. There's nothing to discuss here. And don't come at me by saying no because the four midfielders of Spain make such a lock right there and they take the ball. Nah, 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 nah. I mean, you can try to fool some other idiot with that, and then to say, yeah, that's true, that's true. It's a brutal midfielder. No, 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 sir. It isn't so. Argentina. Yeah, I watched the game again. I grabbed Angelina, Leslie, and Angelina said, "You want to watch it again? I'll explain it to you play by play, and I'll stop and pause to explain to you what happened in every play. Not one play, in all the plays." And we saw the entire game again. I would pause and show them on the giant screen. I said, "You see this player? You see? He has an open fielder, and nobody is checking him. Nobody can say, I can't pass him because he has somebody there." What were the Argentina do? He would go backwards. Things that you cannot explain. Cannot explain. When the game ended, I knew that Argentina had given the game to Spain. Spain did not win the game. Argentina gave him the game. Afterwards, all the videos that I'm sure you've watched came out. When the Argentinian team was coming out to the field, Messi says, "Forget it, guys," with such an face that looked like it was like ass, like if they were coming from some, like if somebody had just dropped dead. They were kind of crying. Some players like Enzo Fernandez, which they're crying in their faces, and Messi's like, "Just forget it, guys, of what happened. We're gonna play. Forget it of what happened." I never in my life, nor you soccer players, have ever seen something like that when they're about to come onto the field. What happened? What happened? What happened? Because a pep talk is like, "Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. We're gonna go for it with everything." That the pep talk. Just look up pep talks of soccer. You're gonna see Argentina. Don't look at other ones. "Come on, we can do this. We can do this. Come on." No. Forget about what happened. What the fuck happened, Messi? What the fuck happened, Messi? What happened? Tell me, why did you say forget what happened? Immediately the press covering this. No, what happened is that the news media of the Spanish, they talk shit. No, that's fire for a soccer player. The more they speak, we the Argentinians, the more they criticize us, the more they fire up their ego even more. If there's anything that you cannot do to an Argentinian, it's to try to minimize them, because in that moment you're going to get a line. It is better to tell them, "You're the greatest thing there is and I'm afraid of you." And the Argentinian will have compassion and will say, "Okay, that's fine. I won't put all the effort." But if you tell an Argentinian, "You're dog shit. We're going to crush you. Who the fuck you think you are?" It's as if you inflated him. And the Argentinian begins, something starts to run through the veins of the Argentinian. He doesn't go small, he becomes bigger. Is the contrary to what we saw on the field. On the field, we saw players without a soul that didn't want to play anything. They didn't want to play anything. They just wanted to get the ball out of McAllister. Passes, all of them for the Spanish. It was backwards, backwards, backwards. Don't let us. We're not gonna make the ridiculous. Don't let them make a goal, because forget what happened. Forget what happened. Later, you're not gonna see this because there's lots of money in between, lots of interest. But El Diego Martinez says, "Let's go forward." Only shitters play backwards. He says it out of anywhere. That's a different weird pep talk, because El Divo, like contradicting some people of the team, he looks at him and says, forward only shitters go back. If there's something, even an Argentinian soccer player, is that he is not a shitter, he is not a coward. We are not afraid of anything or anyone. And we're never going to feel inferior to anyone or anything. And Argentina's never going to say, yes, we can, because that is nauseous to say that. An Argentinian say, yes, we can. That would be so shameful. I'm never going to say, yes, we can. Of course we can. The thing is, if we want to, but that we can, of course we're the best. And even if we're not the best, we feel the best because that is the essence that I'm communicating to you. So then when an Argentinian is telling you that team played backwards, that team played completely backwards. 120 minutes without hitting on target, not even in direction towards the goal post. Not under the post, but not even in direction of the goalie. An Argentinian team with the best players in the world. And we don't kick towards the goal. We had England to our mercy. We didn't score 6 on the goalie because of their goalie, but against Spain, we did not hit against the goal. You'd believe that we were closed by a Spanish lock. If you believe that, you don't understand football. And I'm here to show you that here something weird happened. For the 2 best defenders to be injured, in that up until today, there's no medical information of their injuries, and they're like, I can't. It's like saying, take me out of here. I'm not gonna go through this embarrassment. Take me out. I'm injured. That's it. They don't want to play. Where were Lautaro Martinez? Did you see him on the bench? Did you see him? No, because he knew he wasn't going to play. He knew that it was prohibited for him to play. Where was Lautaro Martinez? When did you ever see Scaloni take out a front man to bring in a defender? When? If against England, instead of taking Julian out, he took out a defender and put Lautaro. What do we do? Everything backwards. We have to win. No, what do? We take the only front man that we have because Messi was completely absent. I've never seen any worst game of his ever. Not me or anyone, nor he ever saw even a worst game of his, because Messi was there. He was like a referee assistant. So then Julian takes out the only frontman that we had to add one more defender. You know what I think about a line of 5 defenders. You know what I think. It should be 4 defenders, nothing else. And if we're losing, then take a defender out and put another front forward. If we're losing anyway. If we're losing, it's the same thing to be losing 1-0, 2-0, or 5-0. We're going to try to tie them. No, what do? We take a forward out, the only one, and we have one more defender, like saying, come here. I know the Spanish team kind of plays, give or take, you kind of hard to kick the ball, but come here, you can play closer to us. You're gonna score. There's gonna be a bouncy, and that's what happened. So then I tell you, is that normal? Of course it's not normal. And that's why I feel like I'm the champion of the world, because Argentina gave that game away. And I ended up so upset, that in that point in time, if I had some sort of power, I would kick out Lionel Scaloni that day. And you might say, like all the Argentinians might say, thank you, Scaloni, for everything you gave us. I don't care what he gave us. When I see something like that, it's because you're no good as a coach. Thank you for what you gave me, but that's up until today. You no longer have any chance of being a coach because you let me down. You broke my soul, not mine. That of thousands of Argentinians that gave thousands of dollars to enter. It was the most expensive World Cup in the world. They sold what they didn't have to be able to enter into their 25,000, 40,000 entries, 10,000 to see a team playing backwards. You think I don't understand that? The pain of the people, the pain that I can't take off of me yet. There wouldn't be pain if we put everything in the battle and we lost. It's an honor, and we applaud those who we're not bad losers. We're not bad losers when they beat us correctly. When they beat us correctly, but they didn't beat us fair and square. They didn't beat us fair and square. We gave the game away. So then there's just pain in the soul, in the heart, complete impotency. Something that you cannot understand is painful. Like if I were to go and give you and say, I don't know you, any of you. I believe in the global earth. I don't know what these guys say. They're crazy. I have all the shots. 1, 2, and 3. If these idiots don't want to poke themselves, that's their problem. They're ignorant fools, I believe, in modern medicine. If you heard me say that, well, we said it's a pain that you can't take out. Doesn't matter what there's behind me. Why I said that. It's a pain. It's a treason. It's a treason. Going from seeing a team that can win and crush those sons of bitches, that all they know how to do is just to pass around the ball around, we would crush them. You don't understand that. I don't know if you understand it. I don't know if you understand it. Argentina would crush Spain and roll them. And to see them play backwards, such a pain that it really destroyed me right there and then. But then I comprehended and I said, I have to understand something, because this is a plan, divine plan. This is a divine plan. For me, in my mind, there's no other possibility than to crush Spain. Crush Spain. But I had to forcefully, in the given events, to rethink everything and say, what is Yahweh's message here? Because it was you, Yahweh, who did this. It is clear. He's the director and writer of this. He wrote the script. He does everything. He's above FIFA. He's above Trump. He directs Trump. He directs FIFA. He directs the players. So then there's no other artifice than you. I want to understand what the fuck you did here. What is the meaning? Like Daniel said, what is the meaning of all this? I looked and did not understand. Like Daniel said, I felt like Daniel. I looked but did not understand. And I almost fell sick like Daniel, but because of anger, not of being scared. Of the anger, not of being scared. 120 minutes without kicking towards the target. I believe I have all the information here of everything that Argentina did. I'm not going to read it. I thought about reading it for you, but I mean, I think that I've summed that pretty well what that game was. I believe that I summed it up pretty well. Uruguay attacked them like 5 or 6 times, and with danger of scoring. Spain is a team that can be attacked completely. That can be attacked, even if they have Pedri and the other one, Cucurella, that eats a paella, or with the other idiots. I don't even know what their name is. Juan Pedri. They handle the ball, but until a team comes in and just crushes them. Who the fuck do they think they are? An elite of the world. They make me laugh. I've never seen the most boring team in the fucking life ever. In fact, if they didn't add the guy with the braids, they wouldn't win. We playing backwards, they couldn't score. Playing backwards, we were 0-0. You know what happened? We're gonna have to get rid of one of their players, just like they kicked Enzo Fernandez. It's a complete shame. The first yellow card is nauseous. The referee gives him, just for going like this, he gives him a yellow. Makes no sense whatsoever. And then they fouled Messi, and they didn't even call the foul in the second one of. And so it's just, we could say a foul, they could see it, and there is something that they crush because they both come for the ball. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not complaining, but it was not enough to kick them out. But of course, if they want to give him a yellow, they give him another yellow, and that's it. And when they kicked Enzo out, barely then, the Spaniard team, were they able to score the little ball, or else they wouldn't score. I know that the one that scored is a Spaniard player, but if they wouldn't allow this kid that plays very well, so it was 12 against 10, 13 against 20, because Messi was playing for them too. So then we've already got a whole bunch. Stop a little bit. How much? Okay, score. Fucking shit. 1-0, 1-0. That is the Spaniard power. When Argentina playing backwards without wanting to advance. Argentina, if they decided to attack, it would be 4-0. We could score 4 on them. We almost scored 3. We didn't score, but we almost scored 3. Well, went to the side. Some say that looks like does it go in, but it doesn't go in. Yahweh was covering right there, and the ball strikes right there on the post. There was an impossible, but my God makes it possible, and then Messi kicks it, but it's on the face of the Spanish team. It goes like that. That was going into the angle, and then afterwards, Simeone, an ass, with the goalie there and the penalty shot, he kicks it way above. We almost scored 3 goals in 5 minutes, and with Trump greeting them, we're celebrating. Trump was there, just a complete clown act. They had to Photoshop him out because when they raised the cup, they have Trump there next to them. Trump's there. Yeah, I'm also a winner. Yeah, me too. Because he says, "Hey, you gave us a red card, and Fantino, take that red card out." Okay, that's breaking all the rules. Doesn't matter. Take his red card out and let him play. That's it. So then the one the cup was Infantino and Trump was there in their celebration. Hey, wait. Actually, I'm part of this cup. And they had to Photoshop him out. Did you know that? You see them celebrating, you don't see Trump, but if you see the video, he's there. When they raise the cup, they have Trump next to them, and Trump was there. That he's like, I gave it to them. Look at all the snipers we've got. Is that normal? Normal in America. Horrible. Tell the truth. And the Argentinian fans booed them. Right, and they gave him a red card. They gave him all a red card. They named Trump, they give him a red card. It's just that they didn't show that. They give him a red card. The FIFA and the TV showed themselves. They were careful of showing that card, of giving him a red card to Trump. What do I draw? What happened here? And I'm already heated up. What happened here? What happened was that I was wrong. That's what happened. What happened is that my interpretation of the events was correct in certain things and incorrect in other things. For example, I imagined Argentina raising the cup with the best player, Messi, and that was not going to happen. Because it was already written from beforehand that it would be raised by a winner that was not worthy, an unworthy winner, unworthy. If they were worthy, they would have won. They didn't win it. We gave it to them. It was an unworthy winner. I don't care whom this hurts. It's an unworthy winner. Just like Uruguay in the of 1930 World Cup. Read the story. I'm not going to tell it to you. I can sum it up in 1 minute. In the first World Cup, Argentina had Uruguay as their son, which means that we would beat them always. They went to play the final. There was 80,000 Uruguayans. They came and threatened in person the Argentinian team that if they won, they would kill them all and their families. And their families. The arbiter was so scared that he said, I'm not going to direct this game unless they get a ship ready so that I can leave to Europe as soon as the game ends. This is within the stories of soccer in 1930. There were no planes, live TV. That is how the game was played under those conditions. Argentina was winning 2-1. In the halftime, many Uruguayans in the military came and they said, hey, we told you, if you, on the second half, don't go out to lose, you don't come out alive out of here. The police put bayonets, you know what those are? It's like a blade at the end of the rifle that are used in war to be poking the bodies to see if they're alive or not. And also in a melee fight with a weapon, with a blade, at the end of the rifle or a shotgun or whatever. That is what a bayonet is. The Uruguayan police used the bayonets and surrounded all the Argentinian players. The Argentinian players were terrified because then they confessed later, went out to lose. And Uruguay won that 4-2. And they were champion of the world. So the 4 stars that they have, 2 of them are false and another one is also false. I leave one, the one from 1950s. Would you have 3 plus the one from Uruguay and the other ones that they stole from with El Diego, that they stole one. The president of AFA told Maradona in 1950 against England, said, Diego, you lose today. And Maradona said, what do you mean we lose today? Yes, we have to lose today. We go backwards. We play backwards. Maradona says, I will never go backwards. I am hurt like this. They took a nail out. My shoulder hurts, but I will never go backwards. You can look it up on YouTube. So then Grondona, who was the president of the AFA, he said, I knew, Diego, that you would not accept to go backwards because I know you. So then we already added an arbiter that's a Mexican arbiter that is bought. Don't worry, that he's going to do what needs to be done since you don't want to do it. Maradona played to win. Codesal, in the last minute of the game, penalty for Germany, a penalty that Codesal saw, completely invented. And then later they say, I don't hear this, but then they say that Codesal said, many years later confessed, that actually he had the mission for Argentina to lose. I don't know if that's true or not. I heard that in many videos. So then they gave us a game. The first one, this one also with the referee, doesn't even mention in 2014. In Brazil 2014, what happened? Once again with Germany. And once again the referee didn't give us a penalty that was the one to tie that they do against Higuain. Neuer once on hits him in the face and then he grabbed the ball. Complete penalty anywhere. No, nothing. That Germany wins. So then they stole from 30. The one from El Diego. They stole from El Diego because they kicked him out due to a substance that was allowed before ephedrine and now it's not. They said, oh, it's a flu thing. Now you're at it. Now it's allowed. They kicked Diego out. Now it's allowed if you didn't know. So then you say, what? Yeah, that's what soccer is like. They stole the one from 30, from 94 here in the U.S. That's why it says the one that they stole from El Diego, the one from 90, with the penalty from Codesal. They stole the one from 2014. Now this one, it's five already that they've stole from us. Stop stealing from us. We're so good. The Argentinians, yeah, we're so good. We're way too good to play soccer. I can already see it. They're gonna issue a law to say Argentine players, because they're not gonna be able to play because it's a steal. It's a steal, and just like we do with polo. Did you know that Argentina cannot compete with polo? The best players of Argentina in polo are banned. If you didn't know, look it up. When there's worldwide polo, Argentina is so good. It's the god of polo. So then they make a list of the best players and they say you cannot play because it is not it's not fair. It's not fair that you Argentinians that you're too good to compete. If you've never heard what I'm telling you, maybe you think it's insane, but the Argentinian polo players are banned from playing international because they're way too good with the Americans. And you know who's the actual champ of polo? Guess. Maybe you'll hit it. Who? Who? Spain. Nobody hit it on the mark. Spain. Why Spain is the champion of polo? Because the best players, the Argentinians, can't play. They played with the fourth class players. The best can't play because they say it's a steal. It's a steal. And in soccer, I think the same thing is happening. Even if you don't believe it, the same thing's happening. That's why I started to heal my wrath. I started to heal because I started to think, what the fuck happened here? Then I hear an interview of soccer from the guy who scored right after the game. The player Ferran Torres who scored the goal. Do you know what he said in the interview live and direct? He said a phrase twice that I said, I cannot be. This is a message for us. Because what this player said, I've never heard any player say it, such barbarity. He said, I have been very much criticized throughout the World Cup, but the destiny is written. Twice over he said, we won because the destiny is written. God wanted for Spain to win. He said it, listen to it. God wanted for Spain to win. The destiny is written. The only thing he needs to say is that the end is inevitable. That's what he's saying. The destiny is written. The end is inevitable because God wanted it so. And I said, wow. To the face, he's smacking me in the face like this. Take that, take that. You see how the destiny is written? Just like that. We gave the game up. The player of the opposing team said God wanted it so. Yeah, that's the way it is. Fucking shit. God wanted that. Destiny's written. I've told you. Last Shabbat and the one before. The destiny is written against Spain. And I was saying it because Argentina's the champion. And for me, they are the champion. Either way, they're the champion. But it was written that they would lose. Not to lose, but to give the game away. The destiny is written. What could all this mean? And then I stopped to think coldly, without the heat and the anger. Because right there and then I would have kicked out all of them, from Chiquitapia, president of the AFA, Leonel Scaloni, the technical director and his whole technical team, because of the ridiculous changes. Montiel, who's a mummy and a mason from River, he was playing well. When Montiel was playing well, and I was saying, yeah, we're all Montiel. Like they were saying when he scored, Montiel was playing well, and said, oh, Montiel, finally I see you play well, you son of a fucking bitch chicken. And Scaloni says, out with Montiel. Put the other mummy, who has to enter, who played, and in the moment that he takes him out, he took out a goal ball. When Montiel took him out, Montiel was just saving a goal from Spain. And he crossed himself, and in the area, he crossed himself, and they took the ball away from a player that was about to kick in, and Montiel saw, what is Scaloni say? Oh, no. We can't have a player that is taking the goals away from Spain. Let's take Montiel out. And he put Molina in. I said, how are you going to take him out? Molina was the worst game of all. It was all bad, but Molina played the worst of all the ones that he played in the World Cup in that final, and he ends up pushing the Spaniard player. If you look at the player of the Molina, really does not check him correctly. The player that scores number 7, this one that is called Ferran Torres, he was being guarded by Simeone at the border of the area, but when the ball comes in the area, what does Simeone do? You don't believe me? Look it up and look it and watch it. Simeone goes down and he starts to tie his shoelaces, and you say, the ball comes, you're defending, and he's the best moment to tie your shoelaces. It was not Montiel. I'm going to say Montiel, it's not Montiel. I'm saying, whom did I say that he was tying his shoelaces? Simeone. The son of El Cholo Simeone. So then Simeone, when the ball comes and he is guarding the one that's going to make the goal, he kneels down and fixes his shoelaces. Simeone is there like saying, come on, just go score. I have to fix my shoelaces. This is more important than to guard you. Then when the center comes in, Molina, that had just entered by Montiel, pushes the Moreno. He pushes him, if you see him, with such bad luck that helped him for him to push the ball backwards. If he would not push him backwards, he would hit the ball with his head forward. Let's say Montiel comes in, Simeone is fixing his shoelaces, and then the player that is not guarding is here, and the ball comes into the area, and Simeone comes in and pushes this guy. He pushes him. When he pushes him like a meter, and places him next to the final line. So then this one comes in, he goes like this and hits it that way, because he's in a position that if he had not pushed him, he could not go back. You understand what I'm saying? Thanks to this header by this one, number 7 comes in. Simeone is fixing his shoelaces right there, and he comes in and he scores. He didn't make a goal in the whole entire cup right there. That's why the son of a bitch says, I've been very much criticized. You're a mummy. I've been very much criticized throughout the World Cup. What do you mean? I've been very much criticized throughout the World Cup. The destiny is written. Go fuck off. You son of a bitch. Simeone fixing his shoelaces. This idiot pushing the other one for the other one to miss. I mean, it's things that happen. The same things that the ass spoke. Just like Judas did not want to betray, and he betrayed. Same thing, the devil went into him. It says, and Satan entered into him. Well, Satan entered into the Argentinian selection. And we all did what we had to do to lose. But that took me to something that after the declaration of this guy that scored on us, that opened my panorama of saying, yes, of course, God wanted this. Why did God want this? First of all, if we had won the beast and person or representing Trump, he would have given us the trophy. Trophy gives us the trophy of winners, victorious, and prophetically, the beast does not give us any trophy. The beast does not yield up. The beast is grabbed by the Messiah and placed in the lake of fire. It's not that the beast says, oh, that's good, you won, let me congratulate you, this is your congratulations. This is not how this ends. So then they said, that's true. The beast represented in these powers cannot give this happened in 2022, and that's perfect, but in this representation, because it's a new prophecy, and the story of this world is changing, the beast does not congratulate and give the victory to them. It cannot be. If someone is going to give the reward of the victory, it'll be precisely but if the beast is going to give the reward to someone, it'll be for someone that is not the Messiah. In other words, the Christians. Do you understand what I'm saying? If the beast gives him a power, he'll give it to not to the Messiah, but to someone else. And that's what happened. He gives it to someone else. If Spain represents the Christians, the false religions, then the beast, you are the winners. You. When the Messiah is the winner. And since Leslie said, if the Messiah will receive a power, it'll be given to them by the Creator, not this beast. And also the people, because they'll recognize it at some point in time, like saying, this is our God, this is our God, this is the one that will save us. Exactly. But not the beast. Do you understand what I'm saying? So then I stopped to think, I said, oh, that's true. Argentina had no chances of winning. They had to lose. They had to lose. Because if you're seeing this prophetically, if you're not seeing it prophetically, then it happens. Anyone can win, lose, same thing. But if you're seeing this prophetically, they should not, Argentina should not win. In fact, they should lose. Because we already beat the English. And we showed them that the Malvinas were Argentinian. And that, even Google changed that from Falklands to the Argentinian islands. That's what they were saying, and everywhere something marvelous happened. That's why I'm telling you, the final, it was against England. They were champions. Argentina, they had to give it, and they gave it away. And if it's the Messiah, I compare it with this phrase that'll make all of you think. Prophetic. What did Yeshua say? Some figure, semblance of the Messiah said, my life, no one takes it away. He says, I don't lose with anyone. I of myself give it. And when I want, and I fucking want to, I'll retake it. But no one takes it away from me. The Argentinian Cup with Messi in front, nobody takes it from them. Messi has to decide, you know what? You, Spain, you're not going to take it, not even as a joke. But you know what? I of myself will give it. Spain did not win the game. If I compare it with the Messiah, it's exactly the same thing. The Messiah said, no one takes my life away. No one takes the victory away. I of myself plays it. And so then the people that wanted to kill him did everything to kill him. They started the hate against the Messiah. They all hating. What did he say? He's this and that. How are you going to call Jesus Argentinian? Now it's an insult if they would say Argentinian or whatever. He's an Argentinian. They all wanted the Messiah to and it's just poor animals. You don't see that you can't do anything. He allowed himself to be grabbed. He allowed himself to be crucified, but they were not able to take the Argentinian. There are speculations that there's no need for you to look it up, that it's all because of the sign of the Malvinas with the threats of the FIFA. And if you win, they can penalize you up to 10 years for having shown that political cartel. Because of course, our England really caused the ruckus. I can just imagine. I can just imagine. And aside from the fact that the football players, they work of that, and their employer, the one that gives them their job, it's not convenient for them to say, we can take your contracts away, and a whole bunch of things. There's no need to threats of the family members. That's dumb. I'm not going to that. And they threaten the family members like in Uruguay. No, there's no need. It's just tell them we can, like the FIFA can give you a 10-year ban and take away for the next World Cup and take the job away from you. Can the FIFA do it? Yeah, they can do that because they own soccer. And they had something that Argentina did, and then grabbed them by the balls, which was the sign, which was this. This really hurt them a lot. That's why this was the end of football. This hurt them. And they could not allow for the champion of the world, because if they were champions, these sons of bitches would show it again. And with the cup, they were going to place the cup at the feet of this sign. They were going to say, the Isles are the Malvinas, and Trump, England, and everyone said, we cannot allow for these sons of bitches to be champions under any circumstances. With what they've done, it's been enough. They did something that we can kick him out of the football federation due to a violation to the code to do political statements. And of course, with just having something strong to say, boys, that's it. That's it. You cannot be champions. That's fine. There won't be any more banning, no persecution. You'll keep the championship for 2030 at home. You're champions of the last one. Now you're seconds. I mean, stop breaking your balls. Or one here, 1 second. Just leave them have this. Let them have this one. Not with what they did. We can't do anything else. Tell the truth. That's what it is. That's what you got to do. And the players psychologically, just with that, even if they had tried to win, actually with that, within that their career, their life is not just that, it's the country and everything they thought about, and they said, yeah, that's fine, we have to lose. We can't lose, but we have to lose. Sometimes you have to lose. And God would have placed in their mind, now you have to lose. Because Satan entered into their mind. And if Messi wanted to score, there was something that entered his body that stopped him. Maybe he doesn't even understand. He ran and he hit the brakes. There was a force that made him stop. We won't know that until later. But what I do know is that game was given away. That is clear. And I'm against Scaloni. No, that's it. I'm over that. I'm over it because I've understood that it was written. And not Scaloni or Messi or Maradona and the whole world could turn this around. It was written. But there's something that at least Elohim showed us all that I'll show you now, but you've seen it. You've seen it already. It's something that you've seen already. But he showed it to your face saying, don't you worry. You're the real champions. I won't show you the picture because FIFA, did you know that the word FIFA is to fuck in Argentina? I have to teach you Argentinian. If somebody says, I FIFA'd this chick, she likes to FIFA, it is like fucking in Argentina. I FIFA'd this chick. Why? I don't know. I'm just teaching you the language. The word FIFA'd, it is the act of making love. The word FIFA, just so you know. That is what it means, International Federation of Soccer. But in Argentina, to say FIFAR, the verb to FIFAR means to fuck. And they didn't FIFAR. I felt FIFAR, like FIFA deeply. The players were FIFA'd. They FIFA'd us deeply. That's the true. FIFA'd us. That's the way it is. This picture of an 80,000 crowd with the clear letters that I don't have to say it, which says LVE. And there's a world that supposedly that is the O or love, and it's a world that if you see it is flat. It's not a globe. They could have used a globe, yes, but it's flat. It's flat, round, which is this one here. That flat. I know you can't see it. You have to see the picture. I'll publish this picture later on Facebook. As I don't dare to show it here because the copyright strikes are so strong that they might strike me for this. So then I'll just upload it on Facebook. But next to L, you're going to see a flat earth. A flat earth. That supposedly is the O, but it'll tell you it's not the O, it's a flat earth. This is a message for us. That you saw it, but I'll explain even more. Because here it says the final. The final, Argentina was not going to win it, or Spain. The eternal truth would win it. I wasn't expecting this. That's why I started to console myself, because Yahweh showed us something, saying, don't you worry. I know that I made it hurt. I'm a son of a bitch, I know. I am. Yahweh does that. I'm a son of a bitch. You thought that Argentina to win and didn't win. That's what you expect. Spain won. But don't you worry. If you look at it well, you're going to find a message that was written. Look, the one that scores, that couldn't score on anyone, he'll say, it was written. God wanted it so. But look well who was the champion. You said that it was prophetic. I'll send you a prophetic sign. You'll see your name written there, the eternal truth. You'll see a flat earth. And you'll see an enormous earth, another circle that is unknown. Like saying, I'm interpreting, no one understands this. It is my interpretation. The eternal truth will make the earth be expanded. Now, churches, how many times that earth fit in the other circles? More than 20 times so than the big circle that is not the earth, where the word LVE is found. More than 20 earths of the size of this earth enter so that the eternal truth, what they will do is to expand the earth, what I've told you, and not just that. There are other territories in the rest, that is the square, that have other forms and other colors like other unknown lands. And when it's necessary, it'll be expanded to limits that are absolutely unimaginable, all with a language of positive, all the words that are written, beautiful. And it says, look, the final is won, not by Spain, not by Argentina, it's by the eternal truth. This image, Elohim made it for us, for the whole world. How beautiful, look at this love, and all the rest. And this is a lot more meaning. Look at the image closely, is impressive. A flat earth. So then what I draw from this, that prophetically speaking, we did not have to win. Could we beat Spain? We could roll them. We would roll them, but we did not have to win. This time we had to lose. It's like the Messiah. This time we, out of our own will, we laid down the victory. In other words, the defeat. Not because they would win it. That's what the Messiah says, look, nobody takes it from me. I of my own place it. Look, Spain did not win. I let you win, Spain, because I wanted to, but whenever I want to, I'll beat you, and every time that's necessary, because I'm the champion. That is what I draw from this World Cup. Do I think that there will be another World Cup in 2030? I'll dare to say that no, I could be wrong. The same thing that I told you at the beginning, I could be wrong. But I tell you what I think now, if when the years pass, we get to 2030 and there's a World Cup, but let it come. Of 64 teams, and I'll tell you what it means, because it's a chapter that has not been opened. But since it's a chapter that has not been opened, I look at it from the distance and say, no, there should not be a World Cup in 2030. Why? Because there is a very special date for us, which is the year 2028, where Israel turns 80. And in Pesach 2028, actually, I would like for things to happen. Maybe nothing happens. Maybe we see the World Cup again, but if I see the way I see my prophetic vision, I think that nothing should happen. No 2030 World Cup, that the world will be polarized by many factors, starting with the Messiah, and there won't be a World Cup environment. Could it happen? It could happen. But for me, 2028 is a very special date. If Elohim doesn't want to do anything, it's his problem, but it's a very special date. 2008, in 2008, it is 3 years and a half since we signed our independence. From Yom Kippur 2024, Yom Kippur 2025, 2026, 2 years, Yom Kippur 2027, 3 years, and the Feast of Pesach, which is 6 months later, 3 years and a half. And those 3 years and a half, ever since we signed our declaration, it could be very prophetic. We'll see what happens. If, when the time comes, nothing happens, a new chapter is open to interpret. But for now, I want for you to feel a champion, because the eternal truth was a champion, and a real champion, because all this Messi, Maradona, Argentina. It's all shadows. It's all shadows. Shadows that project something prophetic. Actually, for me, Messi was the best player of the whole tournament. If they had to give the cup to someone, it was to him, to Leo Messi, no one else. No one else. No other player deserved any cup. They had their motives and their strengths of a stronger force to go backwards, starting with Yahweh. That is clear. Do we know what that was? We suspect that it was the sign and some other things that we shall know later. But that the boys wanted to win, of course they wanted to win. Did they put everything to win? They couldn't. They couldn't. I comprehend them and I support them. Sometimes you have to lose, sometimes you have to lose, and that's it, it's over. You have to lose. But that the Argentinian team would roll Spain, I have the least I doubt about it. That's why the pep talk of Messi, they couldn't even speak, nor will they speak. They'll deny everything. No, we played bad, we played badly. What else can they say? Evidently, they can't say anything. But Messi's pep talk that said, forget about what happened. Let's just play, forget it. El Divo says, don't be cowards. Cowards are the ones that go backwards. And then I see that we don't want to score the goals. We play backwards. Those who defend well. Oh, yes, of course. At the end, you know why we tried to win. Because you might get to think. But at the end, Argentina wanted to win it. And they rushed Spain. They rushed Spain like that. In 5 minutes, we almost scored 3 goals. None entered. They almost scored 3. What if Argentina would tie them? Nothing. We were going to go to penalty shots. And they had the command of missing the ball. It was easy. It's easier. You lose by penalty and you can hide it more. That's what they were wanting to do, to say, let's hold, to not be so, let it be so shameful. We'll just give it to them in penalties. We just miss it. And those that have to kick it, they fuck off. How many games that you see that they miss like this and there? Easy ones for the goalie. It's easy. The game, no matter what the situation is, Spain would win because it was written. The one that said it, he was right. God wanted it that. What else do you want to know or could know? This is the champion. The eternal truth is the champion. This picture of the invitation that is precious that we took was minutes prior with very happy faces before the game. Then the faces changed. Evidently, the faces changed. But this historical picture, we were all very, very happy. But now the happiness has returned, because when I comprehended, then I said, that's fine, Spain. Take it, take the title, take that plug, a huge plug. Take the cup, that's fine, take it, shove it where the sun don't shine. Or on a trash bag with cucurella, just in a trash bag. When we have the cup, we raise it up, we show it to the people. We venerate the cup. They put it in a trash bag. They say, let's go. We win, let's go. That's prophetic too. And if it weren't real, the image, suppose that it weren't real. The image of carrying a cup in a trash bag and not to show the real one. But they didn't show the real one. They're saying there's a cup, the cup's coming. And Cucurella comes with the cup in his trash bag. Look at it, I'm not crazy. And behind him comes a player with the box. And we interpret that it was empty. He comes with the box covered. The Louis Vuitton box. The Louis Vuitton box. But Cucurella carries it in a trash bag, like saying it was dog shit, and this is how we won it. Even if it was not true, the image is prophetic. The image reveals something, because even if it was not true, and we're saying we gotta take the copy. It was not real. It was the Legos. It was this. It was that. No, if they won it, all the players even were false. Cubs, they take it in their hands, not in a trash bag. Incredible. It was a trash bag because it was white. It was a trash bag. Or like a shopping bag, right? Because they bought it. Or a shopping bag. Very well. Wow, I'm already sweating. So then that text, I don't know why, in this whole time, I don't know how many times we showed it on Proverbs 10:2. It says, the mis-earned treasures do not profit. Mis-earned cups are no good, because to the mind of those that know about soccer, Spain, you didn't win anything. We gave it to you. It won't profit you anything. You can shove it way up your ass. It's a plug, a giant plug. It'll enter well. Or no, I don't want this video to get blocked. No, that's fine. You earned it well. Spain, you earned it well. I congratulate you. I congratulate you. You did everything well. You played well. You subjugated the Argentinian team. You played better than the Argentinian team. You even made an Argentinian be kicked out. The arbiter gave you all the advantage, but you went forward and you won. So the truth, I congratulate you, Spain. You looked the cup very well where you took it. Very well. It would look better somewhere else. Somewhere else it would look better. But that's where you took it. Very well. Good Spain. Good Spain. The ill-earned treasures are of no profit, but justice can free you, or the giving frees you from death. And the giving was the giving of the cup. I'll read it in a different way. Ill-earned cups are of no profit, but the Argentinian generosity saves you from death. The generosity was Argentinian team saying, here, take it. With Trump, with Infantino, with the snipers, just enjoy it. It will not profit you. It will not profit. We, with our generosity, frees us because we are threatened. We are threatened. It frees us. That is what they also said, the Argentinian players in Uruguay of 1930. The ill-earned treasures are of no profit, Uruguay. You will never win, you son of a bitch, Uruguay. Nothing. You'll win nothing. In 1950, you won one, and maybe it was legal. I should have to look it up in the history. You won in Brazil, Maracanã, but you never won anything else. Maybe it's a reason. The ill-earned treasures, ill-earned cups do not profit. But the generosity frees from death, and the Argentinians were freed from death. Why? Well, they gave the cup to Uruguay. And that is what I have to say about the cup. Tell the truth. The books and the prophecies are opened in the measure that the events happen. Sometimes we could project certain things, but as long as the events don't happen, there is no true interpretation. Who saw the Boca game? I'm not going to ask here, but apparently no one saw it here. Only we saw it. We enjoyed it. We have a new goalie, a tall guy, a Colombian guy. We have the return of Villa, that even if many of the fans were whistling, I was applauding. I love that Sebastian Villa. I've asked for them. You know this, and I defend him against all the Boca fans until they understand it. It's not the things how sometimes the people think, the masses thinks that it is. So then Villa is back as the best player of the game, along with Paredes. And Paredes played the final on Sunday. They went up and on the plane. They came down from the plane. They went to Boca, and this is Here Am I. And they trained, and they played on Thursday. A monster, Paredes. It was enough to congratulate them. Paredes went there, and he went punishing them. They didn't kick him. They didn't kick him because they had already kicked out Enzo. But I applaud him. He was angry. Paredes did not want to give the game, and what he was doing is, okay, now I'm gonna give you. And he was still, you know what Paredes was doing? He was hitting some guy. They took him to the ground. If you see what Paredes did after the game, he was still giving. He's like, there, here, take it. He was so angry, Paredes. He was so angry. I was very much represented by Paredes. Tell the truth, very much represented by Paredes. Wow, let's go Boca. And he came, And what happened? He started to play, and we won 1-0. Kind of. O'Higgins has 4 Argentinian players. That makes it very difficult to win. When I saw that it had 4 Argentinian players, I said, "Oh no, this game is not going to be easy." And an Argentinian coach, I said, "Oh no, oh fuck." I was waiting for an easy game. It was a difficult game against O'Higgins, and we could win them 1-0, and they couldn't score on us. Look, they attacked us very well. The 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 new goalie that we have, I mean, if we had a different goalie, they would score on us right there. But Boca is a team in formation. Our new coach, Vasco Arrobarrena, and like certain things, he has very much potential. So tomorrow, Boca plays. Write down, Boca plays tomorrow at 3:30 my time of California, and we play against a team that's very difficult, against the team of the Deportivo Diestra. They generally don't play soccer. They play boxing. They're terrible. They're very warrior-like. It's a small team, but they play and they say they sell the defeat very, very expensively. That we have to play in their field. It's a very tiny field, tiny field. It is next to the one from San Lorenzo. When you focus and watch the game, you're gonna see the San Lorenzo, what they call the new one. They call it the new gasometro because they had a gasometer. A long story. You're gonna see at the end of the field. You see that it was a whole parking lot, and they made a field out of this Club Diestra, and they made some tribunes. Now it's a lot better than when it started last year. Now it looks more beautiful because they did tribunes because it was a small field. No one wins there. River went there and they lost. Racing went there and we lost. San Lorenzo went there and they lost. Independiente went and lost. So then everyone loses. The first time we're going to go to that field where everyone loses because they kick you to death. Generally, the arbiter is the arbiters of the power because they're always in their favor. The president of there is very much friends with Chiquita, but you know how these things, that's what soccer is like. If we want to win, we have to play well. We have to eat everything when they hit us. It'll be enough to enjoy tomorrow. So we play against the first game of the Argentinian Cup, the professional league of the Argentinian league. It just started. The dead chickens play today. The dead chickens, this in the Argentinian Cup, they lost 3-1. Wow, what a game! And on Thursday, 2 games of Boca. We play tomorrow, and we play on Thursday. On Thursday, we play the game against Higgins. That team that is half Argentinian, 4 Argentinian starters, Argentinian coach, and the rest of the Argentinian. I like the team. I really like the team. They played well. To tell the truth, I like the team. I like the team of O'Higgins. We have to play in Chile. Always to play in Chile is hard. You know this. It's always that there's not great friendship. There's war there. I've told you. We need to have more goals as an advantage. We have to pass. So then we play tomorrow, and we play on Thursday. Let's go Boca. We'll start. I have some questions that I have to answer. But first of all, I'm gonna start like we always start. Shemah Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our God, is one alone. Yahweh is one. It's not 2, it's not 3, it doesn't have a son, nothing. It's one, only one being. And with that only being is enough. With that only being is the one that writes history. Proverbs 25:2, it is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word. The Bible is concealed, the games are concealed, the life is concealed. Yet the glory of the king is to search out the word, life, everything that takes place. It is to search out what happened here is the glory of the King, of saying, we gave the game away. In the eyes of the others, no, oh, Argentina played bad, Spain played well. For the eyes of the King, it says, oh, we gave the game. It is concealed, but we gave it away. It is clear, absolutely clear. I have this question that I'll answer first. Well, let's go to this question first. The question reads as follows. I'm not sure if they asked this publicly. I believe so. Can't remember now because already it was 2 weeks ago. I think that it was public, and I believe it's on YouTube. And I'm not sure if it's in the subject that was gone or the previous. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to say who wrote it, just in case that I'm wrong and it was not private. It was not public. Okay, hello, Christian and Kings of the Earth. I have this question. In one of the chapters that you mentioned some time ago, it was said to be single is more beneficial because it allows for a person to be more focused on themselves. If I understood well, that was one of the reasons why it was considered valuable. The first thing that I have to say about this person that wrote this is that I did not find one sole grammatical mistake. Perfectly well written. It really called my attention. It really called my attention how well and perfectly well written, with commas in the correct places and the perfect grammar. It really called my attention. So then, let's see if I read it. I'll read it all, and then later, because or else if I start to answer, they might ask me something later. I'll read it all. Since biologically speaking, we're kind of like under a spell, sometimes when we're from the youth, we always want to be together with something. Sometimes it could be because we are afraid of being alone. Also, is the necessity of reproducing ourselves and also having links with people. With the passing of time, it's as if if the people needed to get married to feel valued by the rest. If this is so, I feel that part of its meaning has been distorted. Matrimony was created mainly to satisfy that need of company or to fill an emptiness in humans, because if a person were to learn to love themselves fully, they would still need matrimony? Or would matrimony have then would have them a different purpose to that of supplying a lack? Many questions. So then I'm wondering about the future of the new kingdom. You mentioned that there will still be couples. If it is so, my question is, how will that union be presented if matrimony is not exactly what many people think today? In what way will a union be celebrated in the future? Will a different way of marrying, or a different symbol that will show an eternal union, and that is not to the death this time, but projected towards eternity? How could we express and celebrate this link in a different way to how we do it now? I'd like to know if the Messiah will create a new celebration to celebrate the eternal love between couples, since the Messiah also represents love, in this time, by annulling what has become human custom against to what God proposed originally, not like a subjugating or an obligation, but like a new celebration that represents love just as we are learning to live. I will be paying attention to your answer. Many thanks. Semper Fi. Semper Fi. Very well. Very well. Semper Fi. How do I answer this question? It's many questions that we have here. Many questions. I like the subject. I love the subject. The only problem is that there's no information about this. That's the only thing. I also want to know everything that you asked here. I also want to know. I could tell you some idea, I don't know, that I could imagine about this, but I haven't the least idea because it's still not been revealed how it'll be. I'll start again. It says in one of the chapters that you mentioned some time before, you said that it was preferable to be single because it allows a person to be more focused on themselves and their purposes. If I understood well, then that was one of the reasons whereby it was considered not correct. Sometimes I don't express myself well, sometimes I express what I have in mind, but thinking in a specific point, I've always said it's better to be alone than with a bad company. But the matrimony means, actually, everyone should go through that experience of matrimony. I'm not saying like an obligation, but in my point of view, it makes them grow. I'm not saying that it makes you grow like a better person, but in experiences. Because it could be a bad experience, but it's still an experience. Nonetheless, if this world is an experience, no matter if it's good or bad, we have to live the experience, live it, live the experience. If we would watch soccer just to see our team play, it would be boring. You have to also, it's also nice to feel the pain of losing. You say, you're crazy? No, I'm not crazy. It's an emotion. Because your team is like your son. It's not like your dad or your wife. It's like your son. And you will support them whether they win or lose. And if they lose, and you love your son, even if your son is playing and they lose, you're not going to say, I'm not going to watch you play anymore. You're going to watch him because he's the son. Well, Boca, for example, we're going to support him as if he were our son. And if we lose, we insult, we get angry, we whistle, whatever, but we still support them. That's why it's a shame if you're not watching Boca. You're from Boca and you don't watch Boca. You have to suspend any activity in life and start to watch Boca. Because I want to influence that spirit of mine. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So then, I say that a human being is not complete, has not learned to live what this world offers, if they have not had a couple. I'm not saying just about getting married. I'm talking about living with a couple, any couple that you go and you live alone together. That is like a couple for a long time, for a short time. It's an experience that a human being that has not gone through that does not have. What is living together? What is the fighting for the territory? What is fighting for the dominion? Because precisely that is what a couple is. Because if the man is too dominating, the woman either can yield or defend herself. And if she defends himself, the man already has to say, oh, what do I do? Do I subjugate her more or do I let go a little bit? If I let go, then the man starts to change and he starts saying, look, it's not me, the king. Here's a lioness here. I can't do whatever the fuck I want. Because I've always lived alone and they don't touch my things, don't touch my remote control. I do whatever I want. I go in and out, nobody tells me anything. Now I live with a woman, and it could be backwards, but in this case it's a woman that is always moving my things. When I go and look for my things, they're not there. And I go out and they ask me, where are you going? And I come back and they say, where were you? So then I have to accommodate my life to that, and that is the learning curve. Is that if you don't have it, it's like having a being that doesn't, and nobody tells them anything. On the other hand, when you interact, it's when socially you start to mold ourselves, saying, okay, I'll give you this, but I also want this. And then they start to give and take in the matrimony. That sometimes you can say, okay, that's fine. This is mine, this is yours. And the things work that way. Sometimes, oh, what, is that the cat? Sometimes there are arguments, there are fights. Sometimes there's lots of love, passion, sex, and pleasure. And sometimes there's pain, letdowns, anger. Everything happens in the matrimony. Everything happens quickly. Everything happens and yelling and insults, and then passion comes back and love and sensual, and then later they put each other down. In my matrimony, it does happen. It happens in them all. Absolutely, it happens. You might say, not mine. Well, then it's not a matrimony, it's whatever. It happens in the matrimony because there are people that are living together and they don't always perfectly well match. Not always. And if they match way too perfect, it's because there's a dominion absolute of the other one. The other one doesn't do anything in this complete absolute. And it is, you do what I say, and I like things this way, and you don't dare to say this and that because my mom told me. So then there's those cases, But it's good to experience them, because if we see it, someone from the outside, you could tell the people or warn them, or the person can awaken and say, okay, I've been abused way too long. That's it. I'm going to break away. And sometimes it's healthy to break away with it. Sometimes it's healthy to break away with it. I'm not going with the idea that marriage is forever. No, it's an experience. It's an experience. If you have to break it, it's period. You have to get together. That's it. It's over. It's not about, what God has put together. Do not let man separate it. First of all, God did not put together. Man did it because they fucking wanted to. And when I refer to man, I'm saying man and woman. It's the couple, humans, both man and woman. If the woman says that's no more, it's no more. That's it. It's no more. No, because we got married and it has to be till death. No, it doesn't have to be to death. Do us part. What a horrible phrase. To the death with you. There's always an ending. It could be before death. It could be that this joining takes me to death. That's what happens sometimes. It happens sometimes. Sometimes the males, they die prematurely because there's clashing with the women. They have more DHSs than the women. So then the women survive. And the man, he seemed to be the more aggressive, but he was older later. He submitted himself to the woman, and they develop DHSs, and he dies. And the woman is left alive. Sometimes it's backwards. Generally, the woman is left alive. It's the story of my family members. I didn't know any of my grandparents. They all died young. Of my uncles, they all disappeared and would leave my aunt. Those was my aunt alone. My aunt, my grandma, and now my mom. But the men, it's as if when they're older, something happens with the DHSs, and then they disappear. I'm not saying anything that you may misinterpret. Sometimes it's backwards, but in statistics, man disappears first. And the thing is as follows. I'm against what it says that what God joined, do not let man separate. That's a lie. Here, everything that has to be separated should be separated. In fact, I teach that as soon as the new millennium begins, that your matrimony is no longer, no matter if you're married now, it doesn't matter, that will be broken. Because every matrimonial joining will be broken. I'll tell it to you right now. In the new earth, the matrimonial joining will be broken. And later they will see whether it is necessary to have the union or if the union is free. Because in my mind, there's already a limiting thing of saying, what this person's writing to me, the couples, no, because it really called my attention, these words that he was using. He said the unions, let me see, projected in eternity, blah, blah, blah. Okay, because it's very worried that the couples are for all eternity. It represents, there it is. a ceremony or a new symbol that represents a union, an eternal union. That right there, there is something that limits you if a couple, when we talk about eternity, something very big. We, in our life, we say, this couple is joined to the death, and till death do them part. When we talk about eternity, I believe that it is to really risk it way too much to say, with this person, I will join for all eternity. In eternity, there is no something that will detain that union. At least in this earth, death detains it. But eternity, to say that I'm going to marry a person for eternity, that already, it's a sentence, a death sentence in itself, because you're no longer you for all eternity. So then I don't believe in union but for eternity. That's what happens. I could be wrong. If you ask me, I'll answer. Determinedly, I accept the words of Yahweh under the cover of the Messiah that said, I'll read it to you again. Matrimony is for this time. In the new earth or the new system, they no longer marry. And that is freedom. This person's asking me, how will the eternal marriage be? I don't want there to be any eternal marriage. You understand what I'm saying? So then the question is already in the trap. So then answering the first one. Those who want to be single, be single. But you miss out on an experience, a life experience to be married or to just be common law married. That can only be experienced here. And if you use it later over there, you're not going to experience it ever again. Here you'll experience it, and actually good things and bad things, but it's an experience. It's an experience. You understand what I'm saying, right? It's an experience that no one can take away what you have lived. It's an experience that can end when it's necessary. It'll end. Maybe you have a different experience, and that's it. But if you don't watch any more football because it hurt for you to lose, then you never liked football. Because football is watched to win and lose, to suffer and to enjoy, not just to enjoy, to suffer and to endure and to insult. Say, the fucking mother, how did you not score there? To say, you son of a fucking bitch, what the fuck? Is that a banana as a leg, you son of a bitch? That is what's beautiful in soccer. If I were to watch a game where a team, and it's always 10-0, 10-0, maybe it would be boring. It's always champions, always champions, always champions, always champions. Like what happens with the Bayern Munich of Germany. Germany has no rival, they always win. It's completely boring, so boring. No. What's beautiful is to lose. To say we need new players, we need another coach, because that is, in those things is what's beautiful. It's not but beautiful to always be above. Sometimes to be above and below, that makes this life something beautiful. So then, I'll repeat again. Football is watched by knowing that we're going to suffer more than what we're going to enjoy. Because always our team will lose a lot more than what we win. I tell you right now, you know that we're going to lose more than what we win, but that's what's beautiful. If you don't want to feel sensations, then you want to be dead. If you're dead, you don't feel anything. So then, it is very valuable. And if I said this, and if I said it, I must have said it in a different context that I can't remember. I will not be, I would have to be crazy to be single in this life. I have to experience what a couple is, of course. And I tell it to you because I, with Leslie, I have been married way too long, 35 years. So then, it's not what I tell you. It's not what I tell you. Evidently, it's not what I'm telling you because I'm already on this side. But, and I'm not going to tell you if I had to live again, if I get married 1,000 times over, 1,000 times over. without even thinking about it. There's no chance for me to say no. If I were to live again, no, I'll be single. This time I'll be single. No, there's no chance. I'll go and get married with Leslie 1,000 times over. No matter. No matter. Even knowing that certain things could happen to me. You don't know. I don't know. I'm just giving you a panorama that is kind of like nefarious that doesn't take place. But that no, I'll get married 1,000 times over. Because what I lived is what I am and I like it. And I like it. And I would not miss out on it for anything in the world, for nothing in the world. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. That is the spirit. Don't be single just because, oh no, it's better to be single than married. Nah. Get together, get married, experience. That's the way, experience. And if you have to get separated, then separate. That's part of the experience. I haven't answered that question. Since biologically it's like we are under a spell, quote unquote, sometimes from youth, we constantly want to be with someone. Yes, we're beings that we need to be with someone. We're not beings to live alone. When we're alone, we go crazy. People who are alone, they start to have grave psychological problems. You'll never see a person that lives alone in the middle of anything that is completely sane. You won't see it, doesn't exist. There's no normality. If you don't socialize with a human being that is like unto us, there is no normality. That is why that about living in the fields, in the mountain, is for people that have some sort of little problem. The people of us that are within normality, we want to see other human beings, to congratulate and touch other human beings, hear other human beings. We would like to coexist. We like sex, all the human activities with human beings. Because if you live on the field, you're going to end up with a goat. So then I don't see it as normal for the people to live far away. I do like the cities. Always in the new earth, it'll all be a great city. Maybe there are spaces, maybe there are places where you have a huge house away from the city, but in society we'll always be there because or else the people go crazy. We are social beings. And of course, absolutely clear it is that that's why couples are so good. Even if they don't get along, doesn't matter for them to get separated, but the experience to have it, they should have it. It says that need is vital. It is vital for human beings to socialize, as also to belong. To belong. That's why the religions are so dominating in the world, because it's necessary. Because the people want to belong to a religious group. The people feel well when they're part of a church, or part of the chosen people, or I'm of this religion. So then I go to my church, I sing with them, I greet them, I call them my brethren, because there is a need. Many people go that you can't even imagine. They don't believe in God, they don't care about anything, but they go to the church because his brethren are there that would like to greet them and visit. Same thing in the football field. If I had the opportunity of living again and to be an associate of Boca, that is what I would do. To be an associate of Boca in every Sunday that I can, to go to the field the days they play. Because to go to the field is not in Argentina. It's not just to go and watch them play. It's to go and see the team, to chat with the guys. You laugh your ass off. You sing. You root for them. You go 2 hours before. You talk about politics, about this and that, and about soccer. Then you watch the game, and then it's like going to church. It's a lot better. It's instead of listening to a pastor, to go watch a football game. That's what's beautiful. That's what's beautiful, because we're social beings. We need to socialize. Immediately, the Tower of Babel got together. The world happy with one language, same words. There's no different accents, different words. And what did the ogre do? He got upset. He said, "What's going on here? What? Humans are one alone. Those filthy ants are one alone, and they have only one language, and they're building for themselves. Oh no, I'm going to descend and confound them. And that is the confusion of God. God confuses everyone. We're all confounded because He is the one that confuses. He is the one that confuses, lies, and deceives. It's God. He tells you clearly, He came and confounded the tongues, the minds, the religions, the colors, everything. Humans were happy. They lived together. They said, we're going to do this city. We live happily. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. They cause this and divide and give different colors. That's where He created the colors. I can assure you. That's where He finished the colors. Not just the languages. I believe that He retouched the DNA a bit and He made the colors, the forms, the flavors, everything. And now He says, okay, now they'll be very well separated. And what the Masons say, divide and conquer. Divide, conquer, and reign. And that is how He reigns, in the division. Man wants to go back to be one, and the eternal truth wants to join everyone, and that is what they will achieve, and that is the marvelous picture. This one, the eternal truth, uniting everyone, making this world 20 times bigger, and then even bigger in the eyes of the whole world. And no God will come to destroy anything, because the new God comes and is here to stay. So then, it says in most of the cases this could be related with fear, to being alone, and even with that deep fear that we have towards death, or to feel incomplete. You also have the necessity of reproducing and forming links. More than anything, forming links. Because ever since we're little, we form links. We bond. We want to play with the neighbors, with someone. Ever since we're little, we don't want to reproduce ourselves. We want to play and play and play. Later, there's the sexual awakening, but that is after the sexual relation. The bonding does not end there. We want to continue to bond. Of course, we want to have friends. We want to have that, this and that. We like the rest of our family members and the rest of our kin. If we have them and we get along, we want to have children. We have this and that. Bonding. Humans, we don't have bonds, we don't have anything. We no longer exist. It's not just because of simple sex. It says, after all, I have a doubt about matrimony. As the time passes by, it becomes like a social obligation. I could give a fuck if it's a social obligation. It is a necessity for me to test, to try out, to experience. If matrimony will give you something, it will give you experience. What it is giving and receiving, that's what it is. Textual, to give and receive. To give and receive. You don't give, you don't receive. And to yield, and to not own everything, but to share. Those that, wow, I mean, it's tremendous when the people have not gone through that experience, when they're egotistical, they're so square, and they try to have a couple. It's impossible. I remember Armando, he wanted to have, 8 pages he brought me. He says, I want to get married, but these 8 pages, I want for the girl to sign them. He says, I don't even want to read them. I told him, I don't think any chick will ever, you know what he's going to say? He's going to say, you see those 8, you can do this, like this. You make a big, and you can insert it in a place where it fits, but I will never sign it. He came at me with 8 pages. I just read a little bit, browsed over them. This is the air conditioning. I decided, in some phrases, I'm not fucking with you. I'm not making a joke. He says, if I go to play tennis, I don't have to give any explanation. I said, wow. I said, Armando, are you serious? Is it serious that somebody's going to sign this for you? Wow. They're going to tell you to shove it you know where. Well, there's all kinds of things in this world, but what happened is that he got to 70 years old without living a long time and living alone. And of course, he says, I want to have a woman. But that woman has to do what I want to do without me yielding anything, and she has to accustom to everything that I am. We have a problem there. See, there is a problem there, and that problem, if it had been experienced as you were young, you would not have that problem. You would know how to deal with it, how to negotiate. That living in a couple, it's not you, it's you and the other, you and the other and you, and that's the way it is. Is you pull and you yield, you pull and yield. If you pull too much and she yields too much, then you're also going to ruin the person. If the other person pulls too much and you let go and let go and let go, then also you'll get ruined. You'll get ruined. It's not that you have to just let go of everything. No, it's letting go and pulling. And if things don't work, it breaks. It's as simple as that. Not about to death. No, to death in matrimony. If I see, this is to the death of the matrimony. That's fine. The death of the matrimony. That's it. Not of the people, and that's it. It's over. Matrimony. We no longer understand each other. We can't stand each other. We can no longer stand each other. That's fine. We can all just find a different place. Is that acceptable? Completely acceptable. So then don't tell me about an eternal union, because right now I could not say an eternal. The only thing is what I'm going to read to you. She says that matrimony was made for that necessity. It was not to satisfy the company of matrimony. It was created because Elohim wanted for us to reproduce, and to reproduce greatly. So then that's why he made matrimony. In matrimony that Elohim made, it was not one-on-one. It was 1 and 3, 1 and 4. One had all the women that he wanted because the mission was to procreate. Elohim could give a divine fuck if there was love. He never said that there had to be love in the matrimony. It was matrimony by convenience. Jacob, his dad told him to go look for one of the family because I don't like anyone here. He was so racist. His son looked for 1 or 2 from there, and he lived so happily. He was happier than Jacob, but his dad deciding for Jacob, that was a fucking idiot. His dad decided for Jacob. He said, it was Jacob, right? Yeah, Jacob. It was his dad, Isaac. Oh, Isaac. Isaac deciding for Jacob. He said, I'm going to look for someone, or I have to send you somewhere. So he sent him elsewhere. And the story of Isaac, the same thing. Abraham looks for the bride. Isaac was a complete idiot that wasn't even looking for women. He was in the field in his mother's tent. That right there, that explains everything. He was a mama's boy, and when he knows the baby, means Rebecca, he was in whose tent? His mother's tent. That explains many things. Isaac was a fucking idiot. He was a fucking idiot, an idiot. So much of an idiot that his dad had to send Eliezer to look for a woman for his son. Look for her, bring her to me. How will she be? Just go. I decide everything. Rebecca came just for money because Eliezer said, look, my owner, my employer, speaking about Isaac, my employer is very rich. And at that time, they could give a fuck what color you were. The thing is, do you have money? What love? No, there's no love. There was never love. What love was there between Rebecca and Isaac? He says, look, we're going to deceive your dad. He wants to give the inheritance to the other one. That was the wife. Love, there was no love. There was never love. How much love was between Adam and Eve? No, when Adam saw her, he says, this is the love of my life. He said, the the flesh of my flesh, like any idiot would say about a woman and he's hot. He was like, that's what he's saying. Maybe you don't like my words, but that's the way it is. Flesh of my flesh. What else did he say? Bone of my bones. That's it. It's over. What a beautiful woman. Let's see your voice. Oh, I love your smile. No, none of that. He didn't say anything. What a body. I desire her. He didn't ask her, hey, what is your opinion, Eve? Did she have an opinion? None. No opinion. Maybe they got along like ass. According to the Jews in the story that they have it written in their oral Torah, it says that they would fight and that Adam couldn't even see her. And they got separated for 120 years where they didn't see each other. And then they got together to have a son. They got separated because they couldn't stand each other. That is what the Talmud said about the story of Adam and Eve. That they could not even see each other. Adam and Eve. Taking that out, that story. That's why it's the story of Lucifer. Eve gets married to a woman that was a demon. That was a succubus. And Eve becomes lesbian. She falls in love with a succubus. And then the idiot Adam says, hey, Eve is a guy. Fuck off, Adam. Fuck off. That's the way it is. Those are the matrimonies on earth. We want to look for another. Where will there be love? Look, whatever matrimony. The one that you want, name it. And we could see if there was love. If there were love. The only place where I see that there was love, and lots of love actually, was between David and Jonathan. Because David says, this man, the pleasure that he gave me, no woman ever gave it to me. I'm not saying it. He says it. He says it. So then there I see love. There I see love. And then in Song of Songs says, oh, that my wife and it's an allegory and a prophecy, but look in actual love stories in the Bible where they love each other. Look for them, and then let me know if there was actual love. Very well. Okay, matrimony with love has nothing to do. Matrimony and love have nothing to do. Okay, moving on. So now I have a curiosity about the new kingdom. I'll read to you for now. You mentioned that there will still be couples. That's what I imagine. Because who's going to stop that the couples don't love each other? No one. No one. There's not going to be a rule of saying there's no matrimony. You cannot get together. No, get together however the fuck you want. But we're not going to make a legal union and say for eternity you are joined. No. If at some point now Maradona and Messi want to be together, that's fine. Let them be together, Maradona and Messi, because they play together well. But after 200 years, Messi says, hey, Diego, I'm going to go to a different team, you know? And actually I met this girl, Antonella, that I like, hey, he leaves with them. Maradona says, that's fine. It's all fine. But an eternal union, no. Eternity is too great. It is way too great. If now in life it's too great, the matrimonies they get too older, they say, why the fuck did I get married with you? And how many divorces have we? If here in this life, the matrimony is way too great, just imagine eternity. Okay. So then, there won't be any type of what I know. I don't know anything. Of what I think now, there won't be any type of ceremony of these two get together for all eternity. Nah. Nothing. You want to live together, you're friends. Like a friendship. When you make friendship, you don't say, hey, from here on out, John and Anna are friends. So I said, oh, and we signed that they're friends. When no one can be friends, gotta go to the judge. Nah, nothing. That's why I don't bear in mind that we're going to care any type of celebration. I don't bear in mind that we're going to create any type of ceremony. For couples, no. No, and no. Can this change? This could change. I'm just telling you what I think today. And why? Because of what I read here. And here I didn't add it. I'll read it here, but I didn't add it. I mean, I think I added it. I think I added it elsewhere. Let's see if it's here. Hold on just a bit. Because I believe that, yeah, of course. No, hold on, I didn't. Of course, not this one either. I don't know if I added it here like last week. Okay, waiting for it. Let's see right here. Oh well, if I don't find it here, I'll look it up. Yeah, I had it right here. Look at this. Okay, I'll read this text. Luke 20 to 36. I've read this many times, but it doesn't matter. Luke 20:27. It says, and when some of the Sadducees got there, which don't believe in resurrection, this Sadducees believe in incarnation. They didn't believe in the resurrection. They said here, no one resurrects because no one exists again. When we die, we incarnate again. And that is translated to the modern Judaism, mind you, in certain factions, not all of them, saying, Master, Moses wrote to us, if someone's brethren would die having a wife and did not leave children, let her brother to marry her and to have a descendants. For his brother, there was 7 brothers. The first one died and he left no children. Then the second took her and he also died. Then the third one, I love it because the woman was in love with all of them. Love does not exist in matrimony in the Bible. You're never going to read it. And when Paul talks about love, he doesn't talk about love between couples because I'm sure he was gay. He would talk about his couple maybe, but about his life partner. But I'm saying before what he said, but maybe he's not gay. I don't care, but he was not a guy that was married with children. And then the second one took her, who also died without children. Then the third one took her, and then all the 7, and they all died without leaving a descendant. Then the woman died too. In resurrection, then you see everything which what I've just said. The man dies first. 7 of them died. If there's any doubt, it's with all the letters. And died without children. And blah, 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 in the resurrection. Then, of who of them will she be a woman, since they all 7 had her as a woman? What a good question. It's a trap question, a question that could have many different truths, many things that happened in Israel, maybe not 7 or 6 or 3 or 4. The truth is that what happened with Judah, you see how Judah had a son, 2 sons, and they got married with a woman, and God killed them because he didn't want to get her pregnant. And the other one got married, and says God killed them and didn't want to leave her pregnant. And when Judah took her again, without even trying, because took her like a prostitute, you know the story. And there you have a story like it, of who will that woman belong to? Of Judah, of the 7. The story exists. Then Jesus answered, in other words, Yahweh, in the form of the Messiah, and told them, there it is. This is something very great and fundamental. The sons of this world get married. Who are the children of this world? This century, 6th century of creation. The sons of this century of this world marry, and they give each other into marriages. They get married, And they can even, by reasons of death or separation, they can marry again. Yet, those who had worthy of reaching that century is the seventh one. Worthy will be all of them, but me some first. That's why I say worthy. And the resurrection from between the dead, it is very clear of what moment y'all was talking about. Those who come in the seventh millennium and those that resurrect who are dead don't marry nor go into marriage. That's it, it's over. They don't get married or get married again. They don't get married nor get remarried because they can no longer die. Why do we get married? Because we're mortal. In fact, we get married to die. It's a way of saying it. I'm turning the text. I'm not turning the text over. I'm interpreting. If they don't get married, it's because they cannot die. Then they no longer marry. The secret is that marriage is something that in one way or another limits you, takes you to death. Also, those who don't get married die. Don't misinterpret my words. But if in eternity, if it were to exist, it could not exist under any type union that is of two people. And it's in your Bible. You can read it in all versions. It says, here is the reason why there's no marriage. That's why the one that's asking me this question is saying, and how are we going to have the unions of people that want in eternal? There's no union. In the moment that there's eternity, there's no more union. The children of this world get married and give each other in marriage. Yet those that are had as worthy of reaching that century in the resurrection from the dead don't get married, nor give each other in marriage. For they can no longer die, for they are likened to the angels, and they are sons of God by being sons of resurrection. That they're likened to the angels is something added because it's like, if you were to ask me something in what color, I don't know. You can ask me something, and I'll answer it with a question that you could not know under any circumstance. It's like if somebody wants to know what my name is, says, what is your name? And I'll say, my name is just like my grandpa. It says, if I don't know your name, how the fuck am I going to know your grandpa's? Well, it's an answer like that. It says, because they'll be like the angels. We don't know how the angels are. But what we do know about the angels is that they cannot die, according to this text. And what we do know about the angels is that they do not marry. Is that does not make up how the couples will be in the future, because there will not be a union that's legal, a legal union of the couples. The couples will do whatever the fuck they want. Free. They want to live one night together, they can live one night together. They want to live 1 year together, they can live 1 year together. They want to live 100 years together, no one will impede them, nor make any rules for them, because they both know that whenever they want, that union can no longer exist. And when there's a paper that joins them, then all the problems begin there. And there won't be any woman that needs for a man to support her. How many women would get married if every woman had their own home, had their own money, and would not need a man to command her, to yell at her, to make her do things that she doesn't want to do, and would have married how many? You can say a whole bunch, yeah, because they like the guy perfect, absolutely, but not because of need. And in the moment in which the guy would act wrong, she has her own home, she goes home, and that's it, she's free. How many women, so as to not say the great majority, stayed an entire life imprisoned by the husband because they didn't have any possibility of surviving without him, and because of what people might say, because of the children, and because the husband said, with me you have a house or else you go to the streets. Because before in Israel we could see what would happen. The widows that would starve to death, the community would help them, would feed them. But what would happen if all the women that have ever existed, they gave them the opportunity of having their own home and their own money? And they would not need a man. Let's see if a man would mistreat them. Let's see if a man would convince them of mistreating them to live with them when they would not have any need whatsoever. And if they wanted a man, they would have him 2 or 3 at the same time, because they would not have any obligation. So then if they had any physical necessity, they could invite any friend to his home, or 5 at a time, and not to have any commitment to anyone, because she doesn't need them. She's not selling her body for money, no. So then I want to know how many matrimonies would exist. I want to know if this woman, Rebecca, would have accepted to go and marry that idiot Isaac that she didn't know, if she had been the owner of the field and had been the queen of that place. Let's see if she would have accepted to go and marry some guy that was in his mother's tent. I'll tell you no. She would not have gotten married. Ask yourselves, how many of you women listening to me would stay with your husband today because you have nothing else? Whereas to get divorced today would be very inconvenient because of your children, or money, or because of support, or a company, or because you feel old. But taking out, if you were to receive $100 million in your account, 20 houses all in your name, and everything you wish, wouldn't you say, hey, my dear, this is as far as I go. Every now and then I'll visit you because I like you, but I no longer need you. Ask yourselves, women, ask yourselves, everything that you went through, everything that you suffered, everything that you withstood, yet the yelling, the mistreatment, and backwards too, men. How many of you would stay with your wife if you knew that your wife has all the money and she could live? She will not need anything, and you too. You see how things start to get complicated, that everything is reduced to need, except in certain couples where there's true love. Because there are couples where there's true love. And true love does exist, and so it doesn't matter how much money. For now, as the situation, I want to live with this woman, or this woman says, I want to live with this man. I love the way he is. I love the way he is. As long as I have the possibility that whenever I want to get separated, but I love the way he is. Until I no longer like him. But what is the secret here? The secret is, since they can no longer die, let's see if you understand this. If the Messiah has something special, is that he has life. And if he gives eternal life, he can no longer die. He can no longer die. So then all the theories that death will exist, no, it won't. Death will not exist, or else just live in this world. Death cannot exist. Death is not the reason for the existence of life. What gives life a reason or motive for life? It's not death. Death is the enemy of life. In that kingdom, they can no longer die. It's just, and if they cannot die, there's no more matrimonies. For they're just like the angels. That is completely as something extra. I'll read this text in the New Spanish Bible, the champion of the world. New Spanish Bible. Champion, true champion, in a very convincing way in soccer. That's why we take the cup in a trash bag. The New Bible, the Spanish Bible, the champion of the world, Jesus answered, in this life, men and women get married. Yet, those who are worthy of the future life and of the resurrection, whether they be men or women, will not marry. Because they can no longer die. They don't get married because of a motive, because they can no longer die. For they will be like angels, and because of being born of resurrection, they will be the sense of God. That's enigmatic. We could care less. But the main reason of the destruction of matrimony is eternal life. If there's no eternal life, there's no matrimony. Matrimony equals until death do us apart. Eternal life, no more matrimony. Maybe you cannot fathom it. Maybe you're hurt. Maybe you say, no, but I want to keep my old lady, the love of my life. That's perfect. You can keep them all the time that you want. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't. What you cannot do is to say, I have a legal union, because whether you want to or not, the new government will say, nothing of what has been signed on the earth is valid. Just like that, no, but I'm already married. I could care less. It's not valid here. You see how there's countries where you say you come along and say what's been signed is not valid here. I could care less that you signed over here. It makes no value here. No, it makes no value. If you want to get married here, you have to be married here. This has no value. On the new earth, there is no matrimony. In fact, on top of it not being, we'll have to tell the guys, because you cannot imagine the millions of people that have subjugated women, and they believed in their mind that they were their slaves. Now we're in the awakening. There's lots of communication where women have a place like she's never had on earth before. But speaking backwards, I believe that men believed themselves to be like also certain groups that if I mention now, certain groups that worship certain gods, they think that they own women and that they have the right over their life, even of deciding until when she lives, because of their rules. When a woman is no longer good for the men, either because she's dumb or does not obey or she's old, they have the right to literally do away with her, so as to not use an ugly word and to look for a new one. Well, we see that up until today, but I can explain and assure you without any doubt whatsoever that all the first millennium, it was complete abuse. Women was a rag. And all the slaughter that there must have been of women, and abandonments or subjugation of the woman, practically would not speak. They had her subjugated. She would not say a word. It's not like now. That's why sometimes maybe it's difficult for you to understand. No, because the couples of now, I could give a fuck. And this is the result of 6,000 years, and they don't work. How would it work 2,000 years ago? You don't even want to know. How would it work 3,000 years ago? Women are yelling as they're dead that they want to get rid of their husbands. And if you were to give them the chance, you know how many cases I've heard here. Because, for example, I'm going to take the countries that we have below us, the one that is to the south. I don't want to mention, because they start to say the abuse there is terrible. I've never seen it in Argentina. Never, ever, ever. But I've heard to my employees that I had, and they were all of that beautiful Mexico. It was such an abuse that they would grab them by the neck, and they didn't understand. They would smack them in the face. I never saw that in Argentina. Pardon me, but in Argentina is not what people say now. In Mexico, it's such an abusive country, that I heard them speaking many times. This is not about online. I heard them speaking, saying, and giving advice. Look, when you bring your wife, don't let her drive. If you let her drive, she'll leave. Of course, because she's so subjugated that they come here, they let her drive, and the woman starts to grow wings, and when you least expect it, they kick this fucking idiot away from them. I've heard it so many times. So many times I've heard it. It is brutal. And that's from now. Maybe now it's changing. But 100 years ago, how was that country, Mexico? How was it? Exactly. Yes, yes, yes. But if you yourselves would tell me that your cousins, people from here in the group, that your cousins, you would punish them by hanging them from the feet. And don't even mention if it was. I mean, just imagine what would happen if a woman, just imagine your grandma, older people, would have told their grandpa something nasty. You son of a fucking bitch! I'm not gonna do shit for you. I don't want to know. Just imagine what would happen. What would happen with those women? If you yourselves have seen abuse, strikes, people striking, you must have seen it. It's not that I have to invent anything. What would happen 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago? The idea of matrimony, doesn't work today. It never worked. Matrimony exists only to have children. Oh, to top it off, that, and I like her, I'll steal her. The stealing of that custom, to top it off, that custom. And then after I steal, then I abuse her, and then I'll strike her. That's what they say down there. It's horrible. Oh, before it was kind of like some idea that if the husband didn't strike the wife, he was not a macho. If the husband would listen to the wife, he was being a weak man. Oh, this guy's such a weak man. He's a simp. In Argentina, we would call him pollerudo. Things have changed, but actually, when we resurrect all the women, we tell them that you have freedom, you have houses, you have everything. They're going to come and worship in such a way that you're not going to believe. Free? Yes, free. Free. And we're not talking about free of a president, free of God. No, they're talking about free of their life. That is what they're talking about. So then that is my answer. I don't believe any different way of a legal commitment or something that really is a legal paper to be a couple in the new kingdom. In the new kingdom, under my point of view today, matrimony no longer exists under any situation. What does exist are the people that want to live together. And if they want to, 5 women want to live together because they get along together, that's perfect. If in the other house it's 5 men that live together because they get together, who are you to say that is not correct? If another house it's 4 women and 2 men and they all love each other, that is their problem. And up until the day that no longer, now I'm out of here, I'm gonna go somewhere. That's perfect. If you come with the idea of what's morality, you don't belong to this group, because morality was given to you by religion. The idea of 1 and 1 to the death is religion. That religion brought us to this chaos. So then, how will it be in the new millennium? I don't know. All I know is that the couples are dissolved, all of them. And those that want to live together, it is their problem. I have a question that'll take me more than 3 or 2 or 1 hour to answer it, and I will leave it because it is very good, and it has to do with the hate towards Argentinians. I have a lot to say about that. I have a lot to teach about this, because there's a message that I have to give you. Maybe for some it is harsh, and maybe it'll bother some people, but I have to give it. But it'll be next week. It's a subject that I want you to understand well, because if you're here, if you're fighting for a place, I want you to understand it clearly, because the worst thing that could happen to you in life is a letdown. I thought that with this it was enough. And the new God is Argentinian. And when I refer to the new God, it's a group of people that have an essence, that have one spirit, that have a vibration. And that's why it took such a long time to teach, invite, prepare, purify, and anoint. Don't think that this Mashiach, the new God, is not created out of nothing. It is a work that you have to practice and choose and change and do. But I'll leave this title. The new God is not Spanish. The new God is not Mexican. The new God is not Colombian. The new God is not Chilean. The new God is not American. The new God is not English, not French. The new God is Argentinian in every aspect. If that is not clear to you, then you have not understood when I say the new God is Argentinian. But that we'll speak next Shabbat, because it's many things that I have to make you see. And of course, that I've spoken to you already for 3 hours, and I will no longer speak to you. I'll just invite you to, if you want to, if you like this, if you're Argentinian, to give us a like. And then later comment this. It really hurt me a lot, the defeat. But it's been healing. And it's not that I'm a masochist, but football, I love it because it gives me pleasure and pain. If it only gave me pleasure, I would have already abandoned it a long time ago, just like that. Like I tell you, nothing that gives you only pleasure is something beautiful, is something boring. Football, I like it because it makes me suffer. It makes me cry. It makes me grow with emotions. It makes me get upset. It moves emotions in me. It makes me enjoy. And when we are champions, there is something that you cannot describe that takes place inside. But in order for that to take place, then I also have to learn to suffer. That's why I love soccer. And this week, I suffered a lot from the very Sunday. But I comprehended. I comprehended everything. I comprehended that we are the champions. And I started to feel a champion, along with Messi, along with Lautaro Martinez, along with El Divo, along with Paredes, who represented me with everything. I felt a champion. Because if we gave the title to Spain, it was prophetic. But that we're the champions. From the very moment that we defeated England and we demonstrated this rag, we are the champions. I have to read this again because this is good. Più avanti. Do not let yourself stay on the ground, even fallen, and don't not feel a slave, even if a slave. Believe yourself brave and strike them, even if you are hurt, even if, just like the nail, even if it's old, it's still a nail, not like the turkey that is a coward that flies away at the first sound. Proceed like God that never cries, or like Lucifer that never prays. or like the oak grove whose greatness needs of the water but does not implore it. Let your head already rolling on the ground to still bite around and cry out its vengeance. We are those crazies. Do you know it, my friends? We're crazy because we believe that there is a justice, an eternal justice that is called to rule the world. A flower is born. Every day the sun comes out. Every now and then you hear that voice. That's if they don't give them a strike on YouTube, you can hear it. As of a delicious bread, delicious to sing in the balconies of the mind, along with us cicadas. But in turn, a transformer exists that consumes the best of you, throws you back, and demands more and more. And there comes a point in which you no longer want to. Suck at the liberty's breast. You will always carry her. This liberty. Suck at the liberty. The whole world will suck at the liberty's breast because the liberty is life. Suck at the liberty's breast. You will always carry her within the heart. They may corrupt you. The FIFA, Trump, obligations, sanctions, they may corrupt you. You may even forget, but she is always there. Yesterday I had a dream with the hungries, with the crazies, with El Diego, those who left, those who are in prison. Today I awoke singing this song that has been written time ago. It is necessary to sing it once again, one more time. The destiny. It is written, like it was said by the player who scored the goal that I can't remember his name anymore, Ferrara. The destiny is written. The end is inevitable. The champion of the world, the final, is called the eternal truth. Because God, the true and new God, is Argentinian. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve. Crowned with glory, let us live. Or we swear, with glory to die. Semper Fi. Let us applaud now, but it's let us go to the eternal truth. Let us go Argentina. And also let us go the selection. The selection had to give that game away, but I have them as champions because we are the true champions. Let's go the eternal truth. Let's go Argentina, and let's go the selection, the Argentinian selection. We shall meet again next Shabbat. You already know that I'll answer a very important question. Why do people hate us? How are we Argentinians? How we deal with that is that prophetic that they have towards us Argentinians. I shall answer that next Shabbat. We shall meet again next Shabbat. Congratulations to all the champions. We're the champions of the world. The champion of the world is called the eternal truth. Hallelujah to every one of you.